After the attack in Boulder, Democrats will take their anti-Semitism problem seriously.
Nay. Easiest nay.
That was quick. I'm going to say yes with a caveat. They have to take it seriously. Otherwise, we're going to see more deaths. And look, to be quite frank, this is an issue which potentially killed Joe Biden's hopes of a second term. Certainly didn't help Kamala Harris get over, the hole that Biden dug in her. But the entire handling of the Israel-Gaza war has been reprehensible, in my opinion, both by Hamas and by Israel and by the people sort of messaging around the outsides. Because two things can be true at the same time. It's terrible what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, and there is a militant group of Palestinians and their supporters who not only want to destroy Israel, but are willing to inflict pain on Jews and their supporters in other countries as a means of sort of driving that movement along. Whenever you have people dying and you have the killers yelling on camera, this is because of Palestine, down with Zionists, down with Israel, it's kind of hard to be like, we don't know what his motive is, right? This is so glaringly obvious, and we've tried to both sides this for so long. Like, there is no space for political violence in America. Full stop, end of sentence. And we the Democrats, played footsie with the idea that, no, they're just protesting. We've gone beyond the pale. This is no longer protest. This is terrorism.
Yeah.
And unless you unless you start, really cracking down on these people who, just because they're showing up to your organizing meetings and help you boost your numbers, they're going to hurt your goals in the long run. What are we doing here, people? I just don't understand.
The entire final decade of Joe Biden's political career was based on Charlottesville, that 2017 Unite the Right neo-Nazi rally with the tiki torches.
He told us about it in every single speech.
That was literally the basis of his entire final political campaign, the final act of his public life, of his 50 years in public life. And we now have a Charlottesville every week. We've had, firebomb some Jews, shoot them as they're crawling away.
Yeah, exactly.
Try and light the Pennsylvania governor's mansion on fire because the governor is an observant Jew. It is open season on Jews, and this has happened. It has not happened in a vacuum, right? I want to actually take the Gaza thing out of this because that's an excuse. I'm sorry. None of these people were involved with Netanyahu's government. Josh Shapiro, I believe, was born in America, right?
Yep.
The two Israelis that were murdered in D.C. were attending an event to promote peace in Gaza, talking about the end of the war, right? These were not members of the Netanyahu government.
Right.
The Boulder incident they were all marching to release the hostages. None of this has to do with the military operation of the IDF. And frankly, none of us understand the hell that is war, but specifically urban warfare, right? The urban warfare fatality rate always is very high. And it's very difficult when Hamas is the one that does not abide by the rules of war because they use civilians as human shields. It makes your operation very difficult. If you use your hospitals as arms depots, it makes it very difficult to avoid civilian casualties. Let's remove that from this because this isn't about Israel. It's about Jews. It's about anti-Semitism. It's about the fact that we have a growing and increasingly loud section of American life that thinks it is normal and okay to cheer for the murder of Jews on the basis of their Jewishness. The fact, every college campus in America is a breeding ground. I'm just trying to imagine if in the aftermath of 9/11, in response to the war, we had, little Al-Qaeda hotspots spring up at Harvard. And now, this latest shooter, terrorist, the Boulder terrorist, I'm just going to call him the Boulder terrorist, illegal immigrant, came during the Biden administration, and the Biden administration let him stay. But then I don't know what's scarier, the homegrown ones or the illegals? Because the illegals, at least, we will, I think for stuff like this, it's death penalty worthy.
So you really think after two of these, like, we'll call them terror attacks, the shooting at the Israeli embassy
I'd
in
also
DC.
count Josh Shapiro thing.
So three terror attacks
terrorist
in
attacks,
roughly the last month and a half. You don't think Democrats will turn the page here and be like, okay, this is actually a problem we have to address internally?
I want to be wrong. I also want to believe that like the Josh Shapiro wing of the party will be ascendant and that like it will make elections competitive again. But I just think the hand wringing, the fact that the default position of Democrats is always based on what Trump does, like if they let go of that impulse and stop just reflexively defending anything Trump targets, like then maybe. But they have not broken that 2017 resistance era reflex where that's just their instinct. So when Trump cracks down on these homegrown anti-Semites, think about the people that are the whole Mahmoud Khalil thing. I know you have made the case in terms of the legal argument protecting him from deportation, but like I'm not talking about people who care about the process of law. I'm talking about the actual defenders of Mahmoud Khalil who's saying it's fine that he was celebrating after October 7th, which he was. And so, look, I think just if Trump weren't involved, if this were, 2021, maybe I would be a little bit more hopeful. And like, unfortunately, like Joe Biden actually was pretty good at not sympathizing with Hamas fans, but like he's gone. So I don't, is there any impulse control here?
I don't know. I mean, I think this sort of speaks to the root of the problem and what I was talking about at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Democrats are still living in the pre-Trump world.
Yeah.
And the country has changed, the world has changed, the Republican Party has certainly changed, and they aren't changing with it. And, they're going to go the way of the dodo if they don't get their act together.
And there is, if there's one like through line through everything we've actually talked about today, which usually there isn't a theme other than like everything is dumb. But like if there was a theme, it's that Democrats for some reason have decided to complicate everything to the point that they can't see what's in front of their eyes so much of the time, right? After the Her report came out with Joe Biden, it was, well, Her's not a neurologist. I'm not a neurologist. With what is a woman? Ketanji Brown Jackson. Well, I'm not a biologist. Is it open season on Jews right now? Oh, let's put together a committee and figure it out. Like, no.
Let's pour $20 million into a study to figure out.
Why don't men like us? And just call it what it is. And leveling and being honest with the American people. That is half of the battle.
Yeah.